Are you looking to expand your aesthetic practice and attract high-quality new patients? Discover the power of digital marketing in growing your practice with a personalised strategy session. Schedule your meeting with Ryan today by visiting www.businessofesthetics.org/MSM and take the first step towards transforming your practice with the potential of digital marketing.
You're invited to join our exclusive by the Business of Aesthetics community. Don't let this chance slip through your fingers. Secure your spot now. Game-changing experience. Register for free on our homepage at www.businessofesthetics.org and get set to transform your strategies.
Welcome to another episode of the Business of Aesthetics podcast. Join our Facebook or LinkedIn communities to network with our guests and other professionals by searching for Business of Aesthetics. Today, we're thrilled to introduce Ryan Davies, a digital marketing advisor at Equa Marketing. As a certified Sandler Sales and Challenger expert, he brings innovative sales techniques that drive results. Let's dive in.
Welcome to another captivating installment of the Business of Aesthetics podcast. I'm Ryan Davies, your co-host at the heart of the Business of Aesthetics podcast and community. Before we immerse ourselves in the riches of today's episodes, I want to express my profound gratitude to all of you, our incredible listeners from the United States and all corners of the globe. It's your willingness to embrace and share this podcast, your invaluable insights and experiences that have collectively transformed our community into a thriving epicenter of wisdom and innovation. Your unwavering dedication is the cornerstone of our success, and we cannot thank you enough. Today, we are going to jump right into our main topic, maximizing ROI, cost-effective digital marketing strategies for aesthetic practices. And who better to be able to talk about this than the founder of the Business of Aesthetics community, the CEO of Equa Marketing, the master of maximizing your ROI and long-term strategies and anything to do with digital marketing, Narain Aruraja. Narain, thank you so much for joining us here today, for spending time with me, for us about to have a whole bunch of fun for the next little while here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Ryan. I'm really looking forward to it. Business of Aesthetics is an awesome community, and we founded it so we can share knowledge and help each other. So hopefully, I've been doing this for 17 years. So hopefully you get a thing or two, that hopefully will make your life better. So that's my hope for today's episode.
You and I have spent a lot of time together talking about marketing for aesthetic practices, for dermatological practices, for plastic surgery, you name it. And every time we talk, I get to come away with something new, which is so fantastic, something I can keep in my back pocket and share with, my clients and the community itself. So I know we're going to get a lot out of this one. I think maybe we should jump right in. We're talking about maximizing ROI, which means that right now there are some very common pitfalls that we see in digital marketing that lead to these high cost, low effective marketing strategies. We see it all the time. I hear about it personally all the time. Tell us a little bit what you see around some of those common pitfalls that are leading to this high cost, low effectiveness outcome.
Yeah, I think I'll name two. One is doctors don't know the cost of marketing. Some things are a lot less expensive per new patient than some other type of marketing. So if you don't know that, you could easily spend a lot of money. And a lot of times doctors are making emotional decisions. They might like the person selling that magazine ad, like you're signing a deal and you're going to commit $10,000. What if you only get 2 new clients from it? Would you still make the same decision? But first of all, you need a way to, get out of the deal. And second of all, you need to know the cost of a new client. Doctors don't have a way of doing that. And many of them are just throwing money at marketing, and some work and most don't. And so they end up going around in circles. So be more mindful of what is the cost of a new client? How can you measure it? And then before you go crazy, just invest a certain amount and see if it works. The second advice I would give is around the way you answer your phone. The average aesthetic practice only books 1 out of 3 new clients. So this is like, having a 5-star hotel like Ritz-Carlton, but the people you have working for you in that hotel don't have any experience. They don't know the local language. So let's say you are in Spain, they don't know Spanish. They've never worked in a 5-star resort like Ritz-Carlton. They were never trained to work in a 5-star resort. So what happens? You're providing a really inferior experience. Your phone could be like that. You're spending so much money on marketing, but if you are like the average practice that's only booking 1 out of 3 new patient calls, then you're wasting so much money, and also you're creating a negative impression. So low effectiveness and a lot of wasted money and high costs. So those are the 2 things I would fix. Try to find out the cost of marketing and spend more money on the marketing method costs the least, and then make your phone experience effective.
I love that. I think it's a great, great analogy as we talk on a lot of the other episodes here around the idea of you wouldn't open a new aesthetics practice and buy every single device out there so you can service everybody, right? And then all of a sudden you're like, oh boy, that was a lot of capital cost. I'm in trouble. Same sort of strategy, right? You're not going to want to throw a whole bunch of money into everything that's out there. You want to find out what's most successful and what's going to be that long-term strategy, and that that inexpensive but highly effective marketing that's really going to help you. With that, let's talk about a few of the different strategies. So starting with maybe Google Ads and social media ads, how would practitioners optimize those areas? They're a high spend area to ensure better patient turnout without having to go way over their budget to be successful.
Yeah, that's a good point. So let's talk about, you wanted to specifically touch on Google Ads and social media ads, correct? Right?
And you know what? Maybe what's a great idea. Yeah, I think that's kind of the best to start with, because I think it's the most common where people just sort of, hey, I need to do something. I need to spend money in marketing. I'm going to get some Google ads going. I'm going to buy social media ads. And I know that there's, again, some pitfalls here in terms of digital marketing that take place that maybe don't lead to that great turnout, or that lead to these ever increasing budgets.
Yeah. So Google Ads and social media ads, I think, are the most expensive, but they give you quick results, right? Because you can put your credit card in and get the ads running literally like within minutes, or within an hour or so. So you really can get good results. But if you don't do it right, you could also waste a lot of money. In other words, you get nothing for it. Like what I mean by not do it right. So let's say we all know this, the average person coming in through search engine optimization, where you are the answer given by Google without you paying for ads, gets the person to spend 90 seconds on their website. The same person, if they click on a Google ad for the same keyword, they will spend 15 seconds on the website. So why is there such a big difference? 90 seconds versus 15 seconds? Because the one who clicks on the ad knows it's an ad, so they don't trust it. So the bar is much, 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 much higher when it comes to your landing pages, when they're only giving you 15 seconds, because they're coming in with, what's the catch? What's wrong with this? Therefore I could leave, versus continue through and, book that appointment. So if you don't have really great, before and afters, if you don't have really compelling videos, in other words, even though they have all these doubts and they're clicking on the ad, you overcome those ads with what they see on that page in those 15 seconds. If you do that, even though it can be 5 times more expensive than Google SEO, you still will at least get results. Versus if you don't have good before and afters and videos and make that landing page amazing, you could easily blow thousands of dollars and not see anything for it. Social media ads is even harder than Google ads. And the reason is, social media ads, at least with Google ads, they were thinking about Botox because they typed in the keyword Botox near me and the Google ad showed up. Here, they're not even thinking about Botox. They are just busy, vegging out, scrolling through their news feed, watching whatever they like watching, because the news feed knows what they like and keeps showing more of it. So let's say I'm into, celebrities and, videos of like famous entrepreneurs, then I keep seeing that in my news feed. All of a sudden, new ad pops up for a aesthetic practice. What are the chances? I might click on it accidentally, but I only will give you 5 seconds. That's stats. The people who come from social media, it's only giving you 5 seconds. Now, what are the chances they even remember they clicked on the ad and they remember doing something? They don't. They were so engrossed by that video. And so you will have a lot of people not showing up and so forth. So again, your landing pages have to be great. And then you need to be okay with a lot of no-shows. So you need to have a really good follow-up process. So at least you're not wasting your time on your calendar, whereas somebody who's paid very highly in your office is sitting there doing nothing because the person didn't show. So reminders, making sure people are going to show up, all that has to be in place. So here are some things I would do, like the ideas that I just suggested, if you are going to use Google Ads and social media ads, to make sure you're not wasting more money than you need to.
I love that idea. I think it's just so perfectly laid out. And like you said, there's the hard cost of Google ads or social media ads. And then there's kind of those hidden costs that happen that just add to that budget in sort of a different way, with the lead follow-up and the quality and the tracking and everything that needs to happen. With that in mind, I know that you are much more a bigger fan of alternative digital marketing strategies and how aesthetic practitioners can use those to attract those high quality patients at a lower cost. So tell us about those, your methodology in terms of what you would see as the most successful, cost-effective marketing methods beyond the, let's call it, traditional paid media strategy.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of SEO for 3 reasons. One is it'll cost you 1/5 of what Google Ads will cost you, and could even get better and better over time, because SEO gets stronger and stronger, versus Google Ads will get more and more expensive over time. So it is the best and the lowest cost way to do marketing. I'll tell you what the catch is. It'll at least take a year for you to get into the top 5%, because only the top 5% get all the free traffic, and then everybody else gets nothing. So you have to be patient. You have to give yourself a year. So that's the catch. Another pro is, the right team. So we are 250 people broken into 14 teams. If you have a right team of experts all working together, then you can really master it and you can really dominate Google SEO. But if you're not, then you're going to really, really fail. So I would work on that as well. In terms of SEO, getting 100 keywords to rank, having a plan, and then sticking with it for a year. So if you're in a hurry, then don't do it. If you are one of those people who's willing to do the right thing and be patient, you will reap the rewards. Like all of you MDs, right? I mean, it's not easy to be an MD. You have worked really, really hard for a very long time through high school and university and stuff. Eventually you became an MD, but the benefits, right? You're enjoying it. So definitely, if you understand the benefit of thinking long-term and doing the hard things, then this is one of those things I would definitely invest in. The good news is, we've been doing this for 17 years. In those 17 years, I have hardly never had anybody say, well, let me do Google ads, let me do social media ads, and not SEO. Why? Because why would anybody spend, $5,000 when they can get the same results for $1,000?
I think that's just exactly it, right? We're talking about exactly this, right? The topic is maximizing ROI, and that's exactly what we would do with this. And, SEO, like you mentioned, it's that thing that's like a marathon, but it just keeps going. It's like they've got the marathons with the ultra marathon runners now and everything else, where they keep going and going and going. And that's kind of what SEO does, right? Is that it just has that stamina to keep you driving and keep your business growing over these really long period of time, right? So it's so highly successful from an ROI perspective. Let's kind of shift a little bit into a little bit more about social media. So about, both free social media, paid ads. There's so many different channels now that you can be a part of, whether that's TikTok or YouTube or Instagram and everything else. Talk about using these effectively as well when it comes to an ROI tool. Because again, you could spread yourself so thin with the amount of options there are and how you want to attack it, both from a time perspective and a cost perspective. So what would you say the role of social media is to really kind of help in this ROI enhancement?
Yeah, paid social media ads, just like paid Google ads, anybody can do it. They will take your money, no problem. My experience is the average person coming from paid ads will only give you 5 seconds. So it's a numbers game. So it is the most expensive. So as long as you're okay with a lot of no-shows and you're okay with spending more money than SEO and Google ads, then I would definitely lean in on paid ads with social media. Of course, like you said, there are different platforms, TikTok, YouTube, a little bit of X nowadays, and obviously Instagram, right? So those are the big platforms. Now, when it comes to free social media, remember, when they give you free traffic, the company doesn't make a penny, right? So why are they doing it? Why is TikTok or Instagram giving you free traffic when they don't make a penny? The reason they're giving you free traffic is because you get people to spend time on their platforms. Like imagine in the old days, we watch, let's say, a famous TV program, Seinfeld, right? Seinfeld ads, even like 20 years ago, was like, I think $500,000 for 30 seconds. And why? Because, millions and tens of millions of people are watching it. So you could take that audience and say, hey guys, advertisers, give us big bucks to advertise next to them. Today, it's the same thing. Now you have all these influencers. They are the Seinfeld producers, if I may, but there are thousands and thousands or hundreds of thousands of them. And they put up a video, 100,000 people see it. Now, each one of those 100,000 people now, let's say, is spending 2 minutes on Instagram. That's 200,000 minutes. And if Instagram bosses have a formula that for every minute of time spent on the platform, they can show one ad, that means for 200,000 minutes, they can show 200,000 ads. If each ad they make even 10 cents, that is $20,000 from a single video from a single influencer. So now you start understanding the awesome relationship between the influencers and the platforms, right? So if you're an influencer, you're going to get 1% of the influencers or 0.1% of the users who are influencers will get 99% of the free traffic. Why? Because if you're not an influencer, you are not really adding any value. You're not getting people to spend time. So you are ignored by the free social media machines. So the question you have to ask yourself is, are you willing to spend 15 to 20 hours a week, get to that 100,000 follower mark? Usually, like when you have 100,000 followers, you're definitely in that influencer camp. So if you're willing to do that, and usually it'll take 2 to 3 years, and you have to love it, right? You have to love creating content. You have to love putting yourself out there. Think of like, Oprah, but for the phone. There are tens of thousands of, tiny Oprahs all over the place. Somebody does, the dancing dentist, the pimple poppers of the world. But like I work with 500 doctors approximately, and less than 5 of them, meet that criteria. So I would definitely make sure, if I'm going to go the free route, the practice owner, I'm willing to be that influencer. I'm willing to put the time. I enjoy it. If you're not going to enjoy it, if you're not going to put the time, then obviously I would start with SEO. Then once that's maxed out, go to Google Ads. Once that's maxed out, go to social media ads.
Perfect strategy there from that standpoint, and great explanation, because I know that's just, again, especially for new people opening a new practice, that becomes a big thing, right? Is I'm just going to rely on organic social media because it's free and I'm going to get all of these followers, and away you go. And then you don't realize, like, well, again, these companies make money the way that they do because they make it so difficult to crack the algorithm, and you really got to. Nothing's free, right? Whether you're buying your ad or whether you're spending hours and hours and hours of time doing it, it's going to cost you to really take advantage of that. And again, here comes your ROI conversation of, is that time better used in other ways, or is that money better used in other ways to be able to really maximize the strategies for your practice? So with all of that in mind, let's talk about how aesthetic practice owners and practitioners can track to make sure that they are doing the right things and be able to compare that growth level and all of those types of things. So tell us a little bit about, how you can track to ensure that your marketing efforts are both cost efficient and effective in bringing home those ideal new patients into your practice that you're looking for.
Absolutely. So if you look at the marketing efforts, the way I would think about this is, how many new patients am I getting, from my different marketing methods per month? How much is it costing me per patient? So let's say I'm doing SEO, I'm getting, 30 new patients, and it's costing me $40 a new patient, right? Great. How many are you getting from Google Ads? How much is it costing you per new patient? So now you can start comparing apples to apples and invest more in the things that's working the best for you and less in the things that's working the least for you, right? Just basic grade 5 math, but basic logic, but it works, right? Do more of the things that works the best, do less of the things that works the least. Another thing I would look at is, what's my conversion rate? Like, of the calls coming in, what percentage of my calls am I booking into new patient appointments? Like I said, the average is around 33%. You should aim for 70%, 80%, because that means if you're getting 100 new patient calls, then 70 to 80 of them are booking appointments. Now, imagine if you're like the average practice, only 1/3 are booking. Now 2/3 of your new patients are not booking appointments, and you're wasting all the marketing dollars spent on that 2/3 who did not book an appointment. And if you're an SEO driven practice, then another metric I would track is, How many people are seeing you on Google every month? How many keywords are ranking on page one? How many, how's your NAP doing? How's your Lighthouse doing? Obviously, we do a detailed, in-depth review called a marketing strategy meeting. So those are some of the things we can talk more about, but I don't want to kind of take up most of this time because I know I can spend 2 hours talking about those detailed things.
There's a lot of things that cover that one, but I'd love to kind of just, you mentioned there that marketing strategy meeting. Tell us a little bit more about that, the value behind it, and again, how it really helps you understand kind of, are you currently maximizing your ROI, and what does maximized ROI look like?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the marketing strategy meeting is, think of it like a report card and a plan. So before you do anything, you need to know where you stand. So our team will spend few hours studying your marketing, studying the marketing of your competition, and give you a report card. How are you doing when it comes to landing pages? How are you doing with SEO? How are you doing with NAP? Another important thing you need to pay attention to. How are you doing with Lighthouse Score? All the different things that we need to pay attention to, they'll give you a report card. It's a detailed report card. They will explain it to you based on the research they have done. They'll share how you're doing with, versus your competition. What keywords are you ranking for or not ranking for? So you really get a solid understanding of where you stand today. In addition, they'll give you a 12-month plan where they will give you a plan on how do you get into the top 5%? How do you have this unfair advantage when it comes to digital marketing? What are the steps you need to take? Where are you today? Where you want to be in 12 months? So combined with the report card and a plan, now you have something you can work with. Now, of course, if you want to take action, take that report card and the plan and implement it and dig in, right? Marketing is not something you do it for 2 days or 2 minutes, but for the rest of your practice. So think about like, how do you make your marketing better and better, stronger and stronger without having to spend more and more money? So having a solid foundation, SEO driven foundation, and then adding to it. So book that marketing strategy meeting, businessofasthetics.org/MSM. We'll put a link in the show notes as well.
Love it. If you've been sitting here listening to the podcast, if you've come to some of the webinars that you've put on as well, Narain, it really, you're already investing time into understanding this better, right? So what better way to really capitalize on that than to get that roadmap, understand what you're doing, see what the ROI is now, understand where you can take it, and where you're doing well and where you're struggling. Because I think that's really what it's going to come down to. As you mentioned, you really need to identify those pitfalls that we started right off the top, where people are overspending and their marketing is under delivering. And I know, you've been doing this for 17 plus years at this stage in this space. And I don't know anybody who does it better in terms of being able to sit down with a practice owner and really help guide them through where they are and where they're going to get to if they up their marketing game and really iron out those creases and plug those holes that are there. So Narain, thank you so much for joining us here again today. I really appreciate it. I know our audience appreciates it, and there's some great points. As I said, I've got 2 or 3 new talking points again just from our conversation that you were able to impart wisdom on me as well. So I'm always learning from you. Thank you, Narain, so much for joining us today and talking to us about maximizing the ROI in your marketing for your practice. Thank you for being here. And I also want to take a moment to thank our listeners. We appreciate each and every one of you. We can't do what we do without you. So if you like our podcast, please kindly share it with your friends and your colleagues on social media. Also, please don't forget to write a review for us. Follow us on iTunes, Google Play, wherever you listen. It's your thoughts that will help other doctors and practice owners find us and help bring more incredible guests your way. So until we meet again, I wish all of you an amazing week ahead. Thanks, everybody, and take care.
Thank you for joining us this week on the Business of Aesthetic podcast series, brought to you by our gold sponsor, Equa Marketing. Would you like to join our growing group of aesthetic industry experts and get featured on the Business of Aesthetics podcast? Or do you know someone who would love to share their strategies for growth in the aesthetic business, providing quality patient care or their clinical expertise? Head over to www.businessofesthetics.org podcast show and apply to be featured as a guest on the show. Remember to subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Amazon Music, or wherever you listen. If you would like to engage with today's speakers or any of our past speakers, join our Facebook group or LinkedIn group by searching for Business of Aesthetics. Thank you, and have a great day.